That's what the judges who ruled in your favor said, that the word tariffs, or even a synonym of the word tariffs, is not mentioned anywhere in IEPA. And you represent in the lawsuit 5 small businesses who would be impacted by tariffs. So A, what has their reaction been to this ruling? And B, how have they been impacted by tariffs so far?
So, like with a lot of small businesses and other businesses throughout the United States, obviously the impact has been very painful and difficult. Many American businesses get goods from abroad that they need to do their work, inputs for production, goods and so forth, which are often either just not available in the United States or only available at much higher cost or lower quality. So these tariffs, if allowed to stay in place, would be very damaging to the American economy, to businesses, and also to consumers who end up having to pay higher prices.
President Trump, it's probably no surprise to you, was not happy with this ruling. I want to read something that he posted in part on Truth Social. Quote, "The USA will no longer tolerate enormous trade deficits and unfair tariffs and non-tariff trade barriers imposed by other countries, friend or foe, that undermine our manufacturers, farmers, and everyone else. If allowed to stand, this decision would literally destroy the United States of America. At the start of this Labor Day weekend, we should all remember that tariffs are the best tool to help our workers and support companies that produce great made in America products." What do you make of his reaction there?
Well, I guess I could make the obvious point that the United States very much existed before these tariffs, were put in place, and would certainly continue to exist without them. Moreover, the United States would be better off without them because economists estimate that if these tariffs remain in place, they would greatly reduce economic growth, raise prices for consumers, and reduce incomes for far more workers than they might help. That's actually just fairly basic economics 101.
And this ruling does not go into effect until October 14th. And President Trump himself has indicated that he's taking this to the Supreme Court. How are you gearing up for that fight?
So obviously, if the case does go to the Supreme Court, we don't yet know for sure whether it will or not. But if it does, we will be prepared to defend our cause as we have so far.
Are you concerned, though, about that Supreme Court fight? Because President Trump nominated 3 of those justices that now serve on the court, and it's a conservative-leaning court.
So obviously, I can't know for sure what the Supreme Court justices might do. All I will say is that many of our arguments rely on doctrines that have been pioneered and defended by conservative Supreme Court justices as much as liberal ones. We've talked about the principle of non-delegation before, limits on the extent to which Congress can delegate executive powers to president. If anything violates that, it's a virtually unlimited delegation of the kind that's being claimed here. And similarly, the Federal Circuit based this decision in part on the major questions doctrine, which says that if the executive is claiming that a power has been delegated to them, which enables them to decide large-scale, social or economic issues, then at the very least, there has to be a clear delegation as opposed to something that's ambiguous. And here, it's difficult to think of a more major question than this one when we're talking about trillions of dollars in new taxes imposed on the American people, massive damage to the economy, and so forth. So again, I can't know whether the Supreme Court will take the case or what they will do if they were to take it, but I think we have very compelling arguments that can appeal to conservative and liberal jurists alike.